What's your name? Or I can ask the question like this. Could you tell me what your name is? And this sounds more polite than just asking the question like this. What's your name? Could you tell me what your name is? This is a question because of the way it's asked here. Could you tell me? The question, the embedded question is here, what your name is. The subject, name, and the verb is comes after it. This word order is very important. Over here, the subject is name, and then the verb is. The verb comes before the subject. In this statement, I'm not sure what his name is. This is the embedded question, but this is a statement beginning here. I'm not sure. You can also say something like, I don't know. But you're not asking a question, so the word order is important. The subject is name and the verb is. In a question, the question would look like this. What is his name? And then you put a question mark. But if you don't know and you need to make that kind of a statement, then you'd say this. I'm not sure what his name is. So contrast this with this question. Questions that appear within questions often begin like this. Do you know? Or do you have any idea? Or can you tell me? Or could you tell me? These are almost the same thing. This sounds perhaps a little bit more polite. And then you can say this too. Would you mind telling me? If you use would you mind, then this is the gerund after would you mind. And this sounds very polite. Do you know what his name is? Could you tell me what her name is? Would you mind telling me what your name is? When someone asks you a question and you don't have the information, you can begin like this. I don't know. I have no idea. I'm not sure. Or I can't remember. Following that, what his name is. I don't know what his name is. I have no idea what his name is. I'm not sure what his name is, or I can't remember what his name is. Where does she live? In response to this question, you can say something like, I don't know, if it's negative, or I know. Or if you ask the question in a polite way, instead of saying, where does she live, you could say, could you tell me? And then the embedded question part would look like this. Where she lives. if you begin with could, you put a question mark here. Could you tell me where she lives? Notice that we're not going to use the helping verb here in the embedded question. Or, I know where she lives. In that case, then no question mark. I know where she lives, or I don't know where she lives. How long did it take? I don't know, or I'm not sure. Could you tell me? I remember. How long? We're not going to use this helping verb. How long it, and this is the past tense originally, but instead of using the helping verb and this main verb is in a simple form, you're just going to use the past tense for take. I don't know how long it took. How much does it cost? If you ask the question, could you tell me, and this is the polite way of asking the question, you can also ask it like this, would you mind telling me, and then you want to insert this after the beginning of the question. Could you tell me how much? And then we're not going to use this helping verb, but we need this and this. Would you mind telling me how much it costs? This is the present tense. So's this question, but we're not using the helping verb, so you have to put this into the present tense. The difference between the question and the statement is with the helping verb, this verb, the main verb, is in the simple form. In this question, would you mind telling me how much it costs? There is no helping verb, so this verb is in the present tense. Do you see the difference between the question here and the embedded question here? Is this any good? This is a yes-no question. You can say something like, do you know if this is any good? And there's a question mark. So here's the original question, which you can also ask like this. Do you know if? We want to use if for yes-no questions. Remember, yes-no question will begin with the verb be, or it'll begin with a helping verb like do or does. That's why we're using the word if. And notice that the subject is here and the verb is here. Originally in the question, the verb goes first and then the subject. But because the question is embedded, the subject goes before the verb.